A lot. Both from excitement and from anticipation, because I hadn't seen my fiancé yet. I pictured him as a handsome, rich guy, just as his parents had described him. But my dreams were shattered when my husband's feet turned to me. Oh no, 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 no. This is some kind of nightmare. My fiancé is my worst enemy, who promised revenge on me for the high school graduation. I'm screwed. Hi everyone, my name's Leah, and I'm married. The only problem is, I've seen my fiancé at the altar for the first time. And if I'd seen him before, I would have rode away from the wedding on a horse, like Julia Roberts in Runaway Bride. Before that, I would have hired special people again to burn my fiancé's new car, because they already burned the old one. But about that later. Back to the worst day of my life. Nick was awfully unhappy when he saw me too. Well, at least I wouldn't be the only one suffering. And why did my parents decide to stick to old traditions? It's the 21st century, and our family is still against the bride and groom seeing each other before the wedding. It's supposed to be bad for family life, so marriage to my worst enemy would be great. When they told us to kiss, I immediately fainted. Not for real, of course, just to avoid kissing the jerk. Some of the guests freaked out, and someone wiped away the tears of joy, because I fainted with supposedly universal happiness. I'd rather kiss a camel or the ugliest frog that could turn into a prince, but not Nick. Though his family is the richest in our little town, that's why I was married to him. Our parents wanted to unite their mini empires and to unite even more through the marriage of their children, about which, of course, they didn't ask anything. Just made us face the fact that if we didn't get married, we would be left without inheritance or company. Parents of the year! Don't touch me! I hissed when Nick tried to help me up. Oh, you don't like me touching you, and then pressed me tightly against him. You like this? He smiled nastily. Get off me, you jerk! I resisted, but Nick was very strong. No way in hell. You're my wife now, and I'll have plenty of time to get back at you for the prom. Nick laughed softly, and then we, to the cheers and shouts of the guests, got into the limo and drove to a fancy restaurant. In the limo, we got into a little fight, and we exchanged pleasantries. I even tore Nick's coat tie in anger, and he threw my wedding bouquet out the window. I decorated it myself. I hate it, and I was right to set him up at the prom. You want to know what happened there? I'll be happy to tell you all about it. Before the prom itself, Nick set me up too. In high school, I loved taking part in various plays, and finally, right before graduation, I got the lead role. It was my dream, but when I sat on the chair during the performance, there was the sound of my embarrassment. Nick put a cushion for me from the joke store. The audience started laughing. Nick was in the front row, filming the whole thing on his phone. At that moment, I wanted to burn with shame. Before I did, I wanted to strangle that jerk. Well, he'll regret what he did. I'll get him so hard, he'll never forget it. And right at the prom, Nick ran across the restaurant ballroom in his underwear. While he was changing in the toilet for the contest, I stole all of his clothes. But that wasn't all. When he ran into the street looking like that, he screamed so loud, my heart nearly jumped from joy. My men burned his car, along with his suit. It wasn't just his car that was on fire, but angry Nick himself. I just laughed and thought there was nothing the jerk could do, because we'd already graduated high school, which means I'll never see his ugly face again in my life. But who would have thought my parents would choose him as my fiancé? night. I was laying in my bedroom, sobbing with grief. Nick and I are contractually obligated to last a year. I don't know how I'm ever going to get along with him if the mere sight of him makes me nauseous. The next day, we had to appear at a social event as a married couple. We had to hold hands, kiss from time to time, and tell the camera how much we loved each other. I hate you, Nick said when we finally got out of there. You had to ruin it for me again. Oh, well, I just think I opened the champagne in your direction. You didn't get hit in the head that hard. You've got nothing to lose. It's empty anyway. Leah, you piss me off, but if we keep this up, we'll kill each other off in a year. We'll just live in separate rooms in the house and pretend at events and not bother each other. And just when I thought Nick was right, we drove past a giant banner with my embarrassing picture on it. Oh no, Nick had ordered a commercial for my pimple treatment and used my most embarrassing photo. And the whole town was going to see it. A nightmare. I hate you, you idiot! I screamed and started hitting him with my fist, which caused Nick to lose control of his car and we crashed into a pole. This is because of you, you idiot! If it wasn't for that banner, everything would be fine. You ruined my car. Again, you're the one who's driving, you dear. We argued for an hour, then we went from words to deeds. We started rolling on the ground, grabbing each other's hair. Unbearable girl, Nick said. And then he kissed me, immobilizing me, and I was so freaked out by it. For some reason, I started to respond. Ugh, you're a disgusting kisser, he said, wiping his lips. Why'd you do that? To piss you off. In the end, an hour later, we were home, and we went to our rooms. Except I couldn't get that kiss out of my head. I was up half the night thinking about it. Why did Nick kiss me? And why did I kiss him back? And worst of all, why did I like it? I've hated that jerk since I was a kid. The next day, we left for the island. Our parents bought us a little bungalow on the island for our honeymoon, which means I wouldn't even have a place to hide from Nick, and I'll have to see him all day long. But I tried to relax, sunbathing, swimming in the ocean, taking the jellyfish out of my swimsuit, freaked out. And then I had to take care of Nick. The guy got a fever. I brought him food, water, and medicine, and I was even a little worried about him. After all, he had suffered so much because of me. What if he doesn't recover and dies? Of course, there would be one less jerk on Earth, but I wouldn't want that to happen. You got me, Nick said with a faint smile when I brought him water. Seriously? Are you thinking about it right now? I'm thinking how lucky I am to have a wife. I didn't hear the usual sarcasm in his voice, and it made me kind of tense. Lucky? Yeah. You're crazy, I'm crazy, and together we're a crazy couple. Who else could take us? I don't know why, but those words kind of touched me. True. This morning, Nick had already called me an idiot and claimed he had a fever and delirium and that he couldn't stand me and wanted a divorce. I was afraid to get back at him for saying that, so I just retreated to the beach. But I couldn't relax. Nick was still sick and laid alone in his bungalow. Well, I couldn't do this. I went back to my husband and offered him a truce. We watched stupid YouTube videos and we laughed a lot at them. And that's how we spent the rest of our honeymoon. And then we went back to the city. I was expecting some kind of a setup from Nick for his illness, but he didn't do anything to me or even plan to. In fact, we started spending more time together, and we ended up having so much in common. It's just that behind that wall of hatred, we never noticed those. And things seemed to be getting better until one of the events, this guy showed up who I was crazy about in 10th grade. At that moment, I didn't care that I was married. I went up to Leo, and we talked. Then he suggested for us to take a walk through the city at night and enjoy its beauty. But Nick stopped us. Fuck off, dude. She's my wife. You got your peacock tail in front of her. What? Leah? You're married to that idiot? He's been making fun of us most of high school. Leo, you got it all wrong. I thought you were normal. It's a good thing I didn't have time to contact you. Leo left, and I went off on Nick, screaming about how much he pissed me off. And then I told the reporters our marriage was a scam. We only got married because of our parents. Yeah, I was dead wrong. It was a real disaster for our families. and my parents were furious. I thought it was over, because now they wouldn't even talk to me. But support came from somewhere I never expected it to come from Nick. He put his arm around me and comforted me, told me there was nothing stopping us from getting a divorce now. But you hate me. Maybe I was beginning to like you, Leah. Nick stroked my head. I'm unbearable. You said so yourself. And that's what I like most about you. We spent the whole evening talking about our future, and we decided to move on with our lives. You know, it was the right decision, because I was starting to like Nick. He was the only one who stood by me through everything. He stood up for me in front of my parents. I saw my husband in a different light, and I fell in love with him. Who would have thought? Do you think enemies can love each other? Write your answers in the comments. Like the video and share it with your friends.
Ang galing.